I don't think I have been discriminated in the arts by being gay, or by being Brazilian, or by being Arab. I think what's happened is that people have tried to put me in a category. It's not much about discrimination, but it's more about the idea of the need for a category. That we're gonna make you a show of only gay people, and then my work would fit in that conversation. So you could understand or say that it is discrimination to some extent, but for me has always been the struggle with the category. The struggle of why do I need to be categorized as such to be part of an exhibition, for example. But at the same time, in my practice, what has been developed is this idea of making myself empowered by the subject, by the content, by the themes that I work in it's present in my work. And because my work is so queer, because my work is so committed to talk about queer representation, intersectionality, I feel that if the exhibitions that I'm participating are about queerness and about intersectionality or race, and if the category is represented as such, I want to present my work in that light, no matter what. So meaning, if you want to put me in a category, okay, I'll go to the category, but I want to represent as much as queer as possible to use the idea of empowerment as opposed to subjugation, as opposed to discrimination, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to find for myself a space that when I am categorized as the other, that I can use that space to talk about otherness, to talk about queerness in a way that is about feeling empowered and not discriminated against. My work is about intersectionality. My work is about being queer, it's about being an immigrant, it's about being Brazilian, it's about having my father who is Syrian, having my mom who is Paraguayan, having a story that has to do with transition of spaces from country to country and assimilating a lot of culture from very different point of views. Spanish culture versus Arabic culture versus an American culture, because we all live in the United States now, my parents included. So the conversation of intersectionality plays a major role in my work for myself, and the way that I'm developing the work now is considering other people's intersectionalities. It's trying to fuse my story with other people's stories. And when I say fuse, is looking for a connection. I'm trying to find these moments of intersections that has to do with my story, but that could possibly has to do with your own story as well. That's very different than mine, but because we are not just one thing, we're so many things that are connected to what we are in the world. Our identities are so multifaceted, so layered. So in my work, I'm trying to address these themes of the multi, the many within the representation of someone's identity. And intersectionality plays a major role on that conversation. I don't know precisely in California, but my understanding that the percentage of artists in museums in the United States or art centers are about 75% of white male, which leave us to 25% that is about, and this again, things that I've read over time, that it's about, within this 25, about 20% are other male, which brings us to the conversation of women to having this 5% of representation. So, thinking about the United States as a whole and how the conversation is trying to change, or there's some activism present right now in the American society, I feel that we're trying to change that, but it's such a slow process and has to do with history, has to do with this colonization that has been implemented for so many centuries. And we're trying to change that, but the change is very gradual. So this 5% of women in the arts is something that has been acknowledged, but I'm not sure how much of that change is happening quickly. I think the conversation such as this that we're having right now, it's important to bring these topics to light, to a better understanding, and so we can make better choices in the future and becoming more inclusive, because having 75% of a very specific point of view is not sustainable, right? But again, we're playing against history. We're playing against a very systematic problem. And I guess my hope, I don't want to say my guess, because it's not my guess, it's what I want, is that things will change. And we are on our way there. I'm a feminist in the sense that I believe in equality. I believe in equality of gender, in equality of sex, in equality of race. And I fight the fight in my work to have that conversation, to even being a man, to address this disparage, the discrepancies of inequality around race, sexuality, gender. So not only I am a feminist, but I also, through my art practice, really strive to talk about this role of being feminist, this role of fight for equality.